an agent of chaos and kind of my alter ego. And the story of the manga went like I was a detective and there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, kind of like Fight Club with Tyler Durden. And he would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as the detective. So like when I was as the detective, I'd be like solving murders that I'm committing myself. And it was like a cool little story. I didn't think anything would come of it. Like it was in the vault for like.
He is obsessed with talking about this alter ego, and
everything surrounding this story took a dramatic turn on September 8, 2025, when authorities reportedly found a deceased person hidden inside the trunk of a Tesla. The vehicle was registered to David Anthony Burke, and that discovery completely changed the course of his life. The allegations quickly grabbed national attention, but long before any of this happened, Burke was known as a quiet teenager who spent most of his time alone in his bedroom. By his own account, he felt completely disconnected from the people around him. Even with that deep sense of isolation, he poured his energy into creating music and stories that eventually connected with millions of people who said they felt the same way. To understand how events reached this point, it's important to look back at his early years, because a person's childhood can offer valuable context, even though it does not determine who they become or the allegations they may later face. Looking into his background means separating facts from assumptions.
You're a New Yorker.
New Yorker, Queens, New York.
What are your parents like? Are they musicians?
Not at all. My dad is a litigator for a law firm. My mother was a teacher back in the day. She doesn't do it anymore, but she does notary now.
You know, when your dad's an attorney, your mom's a teacher, I feel like the last thing you'd want to do is have a kid that's a musician.
Dude, it was the craziest thing because it wasn't even supposed to happen. It was not even supposed to happen.
Before the public knew his name, and before Romantic Homicide became a massive viral hit, Burke appeared to have an intensely observant personality. While attending public school, he often stayed quiet and watched the people around him instead of joining in. He would sit in the cafeteria, carefully studying how classmates acted, then head home and turn those observations into short stories. Most of the people around him had no idea they were inspiring the fictional characters he was creating.
Well, what was the original plan?
The original plan was, because I was doing YouTube and content creation, I was like vlogging, Fortnite montages, Call of Duty videos, stuff like that. I was gonna try to be like a professional gamer. So I was like on YouTube 24/7. My mom's like yelling at me to get off the game every day, you know. And then in 2017, 2018, I got homeschooled. So around 7th grade, I got homeschooled. And then the next 5 years, I was like full on with YouTube. I was like, yo, I'm making money now. I was making a good amount of money off YouTube. And then like I started getting copyright strikes and then ruined the whole thing.
Instead of experiencing the world from the center of every social group, he seemed to process it from the sidelines, using real-life moments as inspiration for his creative work. That creative drive was so strong that, as a teenager, Burke reportedly took notebooks from school so he would always have something to write in whenever ideas appeared. Some people might ask why he didn't simply ask his parents for supplies, but that also raises questions about how much his creative interests were encouraged at home, or whether they were treated as something unimportant. Whatever the reason, it points to an intense desire to keep creating, while also suggesting he may have struggled with impulse control during that period of his life.
My videos got demonetized because I was using music in my videos. And I'm like, man, I'm not making money anymore. This is like all I ever wanted to do since I started playing video games. So I asked my mom, I'm like, yo, I'm not making money anymore. I might actually have to go to college. What do I do? And she's like, how about you make your own music? And I was like, you know what? That's a good idea.
Okay, but did she say that seriously, or did she say that like, oh yeah, sure, just make your own music if you're crying about it?
It was really sarcastic. She was on the phone. She was like, no, just make your own music. Like, get away from me type of vibe. But I took it seriously though.
He seemed to live more inside his imagination than in the social world around him, watching from a distance instead of fully joining in, a pattern that can leave someone feeling deeply isolated and alone. This story began in 2005 in Queens, New York, one of the busiest and most culturally diverse places in the world. The borough has produced famous artists like Nas, Run DMC, and Nicki Minaj, making it a place where creativity has always been part of the culture. On March 28, 2005, David Anthony Burke was born there to Colleen and David Burke. His mother, a former teacher, has family roots in Grenada, while his father worked in the legal field, specializing in digital evidence and e-discovery to help law firms during court cases. Along with a younger brother, Caleb, and a younger sister, Burke grew up in a home built around clear rules and structure. By the time he was around 10 years old, Burke had already developed a strong passion for writing. He filled a journal from his grandmother with poems, created his own comic books, and spent hours reading Japanese manga on a Motorola phone. He became especially interested in series like Dragon Ball and Tokyo Ghoul, drawn to characters with incredible power who didn't fit the usual superhero mold of figures like Batman or Spider-Man. At the same time, life at home followed strict religious values, and secular music wasn't allowed. Even so, there was another side to the household that shaped many of his interests. In the basement of the family's Queens home, David Burke had built an impressive collection of gaming systems, including a Nintendo 64, several Game Boys, and different PlayStation consoles. From an early age, David spent time there playing games with his father, who also had more than 20 years of martial arts experience and enrolled him in classes when he was just 6 years old. His father was also the one who introduced him to anime, a hobby that would become one of the biggest creative influences in his life. Looking from the outside, his childhood combined religious values, martial arts, video games, and home-cooked Grenadian meals, creating what appeared to be a structured working-class family environment. Eventually, the Burke family moved from Queens to Houston, Texas, after his father's job in the legal field required a transfer. Many news reports have claimed the move happened when Burke was 13 years old, but Burke himself said in an interview that he was actually around 7 or 8, while he was in the 2nd or 3rd grade. According to his own account, he quickly adjusted to the slower pace of Texas and found classmates who shared his love of video games. The move marked a major change in his surroundings and introduced him to a very different environment. Life at home, however, remained tightly structured. Non-religious entertainment was heavily restricted, and pop, hip-hop, rock, and R&B music were not allowed until he was about 13 years old. Burke has said that his parents regularly checked his phone each week to make sure he wasn't listening to music that went against the family's rules. Many parents set limits because they want to protect their children from themes they consider inappropriate, but strict restrictions can sometimes make forbidden things seem even more appealing, especially for teenagers who are naturally curious and eager to explore new interests. His parents also appeared to influence him in very different ways. Over the years, Colleen Burke encouraged him to explore music through organized activities. She signed him up for piano lessons when he was 7, but he quit after about a week. Later, she enrolled him in the church choir, though he eventually left that as well. In 7th grade, he joined his middle school band and learned to play the flute, a skill he kept. But that experience came to an end after he transitioned to homeschooling.
Homeschooling really takes a toll on a kid.
Isolation.
Yeah, and there's outlets like I made a couple friends now that were homeschooled, but they had like these groups that they would go to like bi-weekly and just to socialize. But I didn't have that. Like there was no like extracurricular activities I was involved in it was just me at home playing Fortnite, getting schoolwork done, learning how to code and build computers for 4 years. 4 years.
Looking back, an interesting pattern starts to appear. Burke seemed less interested in structured creative programs and more drawn to hobbies he discovered through his father, including martial arts, anime, and gaming. When music eventually became a major part of his life, it didn't grow out of formal lessons. Instead, by Burke's own account, it developed later through self-directed learning and personal motivation, shaped by circumstances he encountered on his own. Everything changed after 7th grade when Burke's parents decided to homeschool him, with his mother taking charge of his education.
So the next thing I know, I'm on my phone. I'm like, yo, how to make music on iPhone? Because I have no studio, no money, no budget, no nothing. And this app called BandLab comes up, and then I use my little sister's closet as a studio. Like her robes and everything in there for like the noise cancellation. And from there, it's up.
Burke later said this experience helped him become highly independent, teaching himself skills like computer coding and even building powerful gaming PCs from the ground up. But in the beginning, he described those first 2 years as extremely difficult. Instead of spending his days around classmates, he suddenly found himself sitting in front of a computer for hours at a time, separated from the social life he had known before.
Here, didn't you say you never experienced love or hadn't been in love? You didn't.
Yeah, I wasn't in a relationship then. Nah.
But today you are, or you?
Nah,
were?
I've been through a couple. I'm single there right now, but I've been through a few, and they've taught me a lot of things, and they've shown me what love is and what love isn't, and how to approach it, and how to be human with it, and not be so artist, you know, and not look for the things to write about in these types of situations. And I've kind of been more mature about it and getting emotionally intelligent with it.
Before homeschooling, Burke said he had built a large circle of online friends, pointing to a Snapchat score of more than 250,000 as a sign of how often he communicated with other people. According to Burke, once he was no longer attending school in person, many of those conversations stopped almost overnight. He later described realizing that many of those friendships disappeared after he left school as a painful experience, saying those feelings eventually inspired his song Worthless. When Burke has spoken about this period of his life, he has often described himself as someone who felt misunderstood or let down by the people around him. He has claimed that teachers at a previous private school treated him unfairly and that friends drifted away after he was homeschooled. Those accounts reflect his perspective, and the reasons behind the family's decision to homeschool have not been fully explained publicly. Some observers have suggested that the family's religious beliefs may have played a role, as some families choose homeschooling to keep closer control over their children's education and outside influences.
To me, because that's a real conversation that happened. And the irony of it was that person that was saying, I love you, she's not in my life anymore. So it's like, people say that the string can't be cut and the connection cannot be severed, but I feel like it can sometimes. And that's why I wanted to put, Afterlife and all these songs that feel like endings and conclusions and goodbyes on the project to kind of solidify that message of this is the end of something, not the beginning.
Following the allegations connected to the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, many people have looked back at these early years, searching for possible warning signs. However, drawing direct conclusions from childhood experiences alone would be speculative, and those events do not by themselves explain what prosecutors now allege occurred years later. With very little face-to-face social interaction, Burke increasingly turned to the online world.
You saying expecting it, meaning like you get into a friendship expecting it to end in a devastating, tragic, sad way, so it can inspire art, but are you manifesting that in a certain
I
degree?
don't know. I hope I'm not. I really hope I'm not, because it feels that way. Because I look back to old songs like Life's a Dream and all these songs I wrote in my closet or my sister's closet in 2022 when I'm looking at my life in the past 8 to 9 months. I'm like, whoa. Like, bro, these songs are soundtracking my life. So I hope I'm not involuntarily doing that, but it might be that way.
Fortnite became much more than a game for him. It became the main place where he connected with other people. He said he reached a high level in competitive play, and even claimed to have recorded a 60 elimination match. More importantly, those online lobbies gave him a sense of community. As a teenager, he spent countless hours talking with people from around the world, many of whom shared stories about heartbreak, personal struggles, and difficult experiences. According to Burke, those conversations became a major source of inspiration for his music. He has said that many of his early songs were influenced by the emotions and stories other people shared with him online. Before he had experienced a serious romantic relationship himself, he was already writing about heartbreak, loss, and emotional pain, drawing from what he heard rather than from his own personal experiences.
Yeah, man, Romantic Homicide was just like, I wanted to feel what the other kids were feeling like. Everybody I knew, well, in middle school that I didn't talk to anymore, everybody had relationships. I didn't have a relationship. I wanted to do that. I wanted to be involved in this or have a heartbreak for myself. So I kind of just like made up these scenarios of myself getting heartbroken and being in love and stuff like that. And I would write songs about things that never happened.
Wanting to build an audience, Burke started uploading Fortnite highlight videos to YouTube under the name Chronic Ant, a nickname inspired by his middle name, Anthony. He soon realized that adding popular songs to his gameplay videos attracted more viewers and even allowed him to earn money through the platform. Although his mother reportedly wasn't happy with how much time he spent gaming at first, the income from his channel helped show that his hobby could also become a source of earnings. That success didn't last forever. Burke said copyright claims from major music companies, including UMG, eventually led to repeated strikes against his channel, cutting off the income he had worked to build. Frustrated, he turned to his mother for advice. According to Burke, she suggested that he make his own music instead of relying on copyrighted songs, likely as a simple solution to the problem. He took that idea seriously, searched for ways to produce music on a phone, downloaded the free app BandLab, and transformed his younger sister's walk-in closet into a small recording space. By hanging robes and blankets to soften the sound and using a pair of Apple earbuds as a microphone, he created the home studio where his music journey truly began. Without telling his parents, Burke quietly started recording music on his own. He freestyled in single takes without writing lyrics down first, using instrumentals he found online. After spending about $20 on an independent beat from BeatStars, he released his first songs, Runaway and You and I. He also promoted them by placing links to his SoundCloud in his gaming videos, a strategy that quickly caught on across the gaming community. Over time, those songs reportedly collected more than 94 million streams, even though listeners still didn't know his real name or what he looked like. Then, in July 2022, inside that same small closet he had turned into a recording booth, Burke recorded another song in a single take. That track, Romantic Homicide, explored dark fictional themes of emotional pain and symbolic violence that reflected the mood of the song rather than real events. After playing it for his mother in the car, Burke said she was immediately concerned by the lyrics, telling him that the dark character in the song didn't remind her of the son she knew.
I knew it was cool if she hated it. I played it for her in the car. She was like, David, this song is too violent. You talking about killing people in your music? No, not my son. I was like, wait, I might be onto something. So I dropped it right after that. And it went crazy. TikTok, viral, 1 million views overnight. I was like, oh yeah, we cooking, boy. We cooking, boy. So right at that moment, I was like, my mom has done it again. Because if she said, because I was already skeptical about the song when I made it. Like, I was like, okay, maybe it's just too dark, until I decided to play it for my mom, and she hated it. And that was my cue. That was the you go do it.
Even with those concerns, the song was released and exploded almost instantly. It reportedly earned around 500,000 streams overnight before eventually reaching number 33 on the Billboard Hot 100. The success led to a major record deal and launched a teenager who had never even attended a live concert from recording in a closet to worldwide recognition. Years later, after authorities alleged that they discovered a deceased person in a vehicle registered to Burke, many people began looking back at this remarkable rise through a completely different lens. As those legal proceedings continue, the contrast between his rapid success and the allegations has become the center of intense public attention. What do you think shaped Burke's path the most? His isolation, his creative drive, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more documentaries like this.